Good afternoon, CCSIP participants. Please continue to share as we move along your food. Make sure that you get the dessert if you've already finished your entree. I'm Yolanda Benson, and I'm from Sacramento, California, and actually have been privileged to be part of what has been going on with Canada and California since the inception, working with then Consul General Alain Dudois in looking at the great synergies and potential with California and Canada. And I have worked for the governor. I've been in the political, legislative, policy arena for about 23 years in California. And my last opportunity was certainly working with the current governor, Governor Schwarzenegger, even prior to when he was elected, and then served on his transition team in getting the first cabinet together for his administration. And so it was a very, very different and exciting time. I am now in the private sector, however, continue to work to ensure that the objectives of CCSIP are continually in the forefront of California policymakers, which, interestingly enough, I did say this yesterday, so a few of you may have heard me say this. I don't want to be too redundant, but California works very differently than Canada in many, many ways. Some good, some not so good, but our policy arena is very different in how things are moved forward in the arena of policy in California. Oftentimes we work with our governors and premiers and our prime ministers as far as the leadership. However, in California, the governor is one entity of government, which is usually what we call the administration. So there are many departments that are underneath the office of the governor. I was privileged to work as a Deputy Secretary for Jobs, Economic Development, and Trade at one of them, the Business, Transportation, and Housing Agency, which had about 14 departments. So as being in charge of jobs, economic development, and trade was one of my main priorities, but we also had 14 departments that we had to ensure were continually moving in the agenda of ensuring their respective missions, including Caltrans, which would be the Department of Transportation, the CHP, the California Highway Patrol, the Department of Motor Vehicles. If we just had those three, that would have been a very, very busy place to be. But we have to add on top of that other things like the Department of Real Estate, the Department of Managed Healthcare, managing all the HMOs in California. So there are very varied interests underneath that agency. So I've been exposed to government and understand how it does work and does not work in California. But one of the important things is that because you do have a governor that's considered the administration, you also have another body called the legislative body. Then you have the judicial system. Well, the legislative body truly does operate very separately. And I will tell you that even if the governor has a grand idea, he needs the legislature in order to pass the policies and the laws in order to make that happen. And the legislature acts very different. It's all on its own. And so we are privileged today to actually have Assemblyman Paul Krikorian with us today, who actually serves on the Utilities and Commerce Committee, which actually looks at all issues regarding energy and telecommunications. But one of the other things that he does, because of where he comes from, he's from the Los Angeles area, Burbank, Glendale. He actually is the chair of the Select Committee on California entertainment industry. So I was just in the digital media and digital arts workshop. He would definitely be able to know what you're talking about because he works in that realm of activity. One of the things he is fairly new to the legislature. He's actually finishing his second year. And he has actually had most of his bills signed as a freshman. He had most bills signed as a freshman by the governor, which means that's a pretty high success rate. But one of the things that I think is important are some of the pieces of legislation that he actually authored were ocean protection, ensuring that plastic is removed from our coastline and from our oceans, as well as other ideas to expand solar generation. And that's very much what his focus is now, is ensuring renewable energy at all fronts of California. And the legislative body is important because you have a whole other set of policymakers that need to know what's happening with many of the policy agendas that we are trying to move forward in California. And California can only move forward if you have not only the governor on board and understanding what's going on, but the legislative body. So this is a great opportunity to actually have a leader representing the Speaker of the Assembly to actually be with us to understand what we are trying to do as Canada and California, and knowing what potentials there are and how he can help us move something forward that might be of great assistance to what we're trying to do in the many aspects, whether it be in renewable energy, carbon sequestration, green IT, many of the issues that we share in California. And Canada has certainly been a great partner even before CCSIP was established. But this truly is a great opportunity to collectively meet the challenges of what we're going to be facing in this century. And I'm proud that we will now be able to talk to policymakers, not only here in Canada, and we appreciate so many of you being here. Some of you are even our sponsors for today. We appreciate the Canadian presence here, and we will look forward to potentially having you into California so that we can host you and you can share in how beautiful California is. And thank you to Montreal and all of our hosts that have made it. Thank you for the weather so far. I think in 2 weeks there'll be a little more white through those windows. But if you came to California and if you went to Assemblyman Krikorian's district, you'd be in about 80-degree weather today. So it would definitely be sunshine that we would want to welcome you. But we do want to take this opportunity to introduce Assemblyman Paul Krikorian on behalf of the California State Legislature.